let's go. Hey, are you ready? It's time for the Pwamps Show. Hey, are you ready? It's time for the Pwamps Show. Hey, Pwamps. Hey, Pwamps.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, Pwamps.
All right, everybody, we are back with another episode of the Pwamps Sports Show. It is Monday, October 6th, and we had a fully loaded slate and week of sports. Now, we got to start with the news, though. Something interesting came out just a couple days ago. Mark Sanchez, if you don't know who he is, he's a former college football quarterback, pro quarterback. He's now a Fox analyst. Apparently, he got stabbed multiple times. He was under the influence. He broke into a vehicle, and then to top it all off, he gets arrested. A lot of details still in the mud here that we don't know. All I do know is this was not a great look. Not a great look for Mark Sanchez, Fox analyst, former player. Big news here. And keep your eyes and ears open. Just keep listening for this news story because it's going to develop, and it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of it. In the world of the NFL, though, the Bills and the Eagles, no longer undefeated. How about the Saints and the Titans? They are no longer winless. It was a nice weekend in the NFL. We've got Monday Night Football tonight. Chiefs traveling to Jacksonville. That's a big one. How about the world of college football? 3 out of our 4 featured 4 were some pretty nice games. Western Kentucky, the Hilltoppers, they got a win over Delaware. The Blue Hens, that was a big win for them. Notre Dame and Boise State. I'm sorry, folks, that I led you to this game. I thought it was going to be good. Geez, Notre Dame put a pounding on Boise State. Then how about our third game, Iowa State and Cincy? Game of the year candidate. Cincinnati gets the statement win that they need in the Big 12. That was huge. Then Carson Beck in Miami, they went into Florida State. They knocked off the Seminoles, and they looked mighty good doing it. A lot of people are thinking Miami might be the real #1 team in the country, even over Ohio State. Here's why, real quickly. Texas, they lost to Florida. That was not a good look. A lot of people think their season is over. That loss that they had against Ohio State, that win for Ohio State, it's not looking as quality as you would think the way the Longhorns have been playing. Our major treat, though, was Saturday evening, our last game in our other 4. UNLV traveling to Laramie, Wyoming, to take on the Cowboys. And guess what? Was it a necessarily tight game? No. But how about that winter weather, folks? We had some snow on the field. We had some snow angels in the end zone. UNLV comes out on top with a win. And then we've got some nice things going on around the world of the MLB. The postseason is underway. Let's talk about the wild card real quickly. The Dodgers beat the Reds. Okay, that's a big one. How about the Cubs? They survived that Padres series. It went 3 games. The Guardians, they are out. The Tigers win a best-of-3 series. They move on, and the Yankees win another 3-game series against the Boston Red Sox. We're on to the divisional round, folks. It's going to be fun. Let's get to it. Let's roll. All right, everybody, we are back with our NFL info board. We've got a lot going on in the NFL this week. It is week 5. Let's take a look at it. First, we're going to start out Monday Night Football. We've got the Kansas City Chiefs tonight traveling to the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is a good game, okay? Good game. Chiefs have gotten some wins back under their belt. The Jags are sitting at 3-1. Crazy. How crazy is that? Who would think also right now the Jags' only loss is to the Bengals? Jags are playing well. We've got a good Monday Night Football game tonight, but we also had 4 teams on the bye this week. What the bye is, means your team does not play this week, but they'll be back next week. They only get 1 bye a season, so that's the only time they're not playing. You had the Falcons, you had the Bears, you had the Steelers, and then you had the Green Bay Packers. They'll all be back next week. Let's take a look at your left side of the board. Here's the winner's side of our info map, our top row. Got to start out. The San Francisco 49ers. Mac Jones gets another start A lot of question marks going into SoFi Stadium to take on the LA Rams. This was a great game. 3-1 teams. Big division rivalry battle in the NFC West. Boy, did the Niners look good. Did Mac Jones look good? You talk about having a solid backup QB behind Brock Purdy. Kyle Shanahan's got to be pretty pleased with how Mac Jones was playing. Christian McCaffrey was running the ball well. Niners looked good. They get a massive win at SoFi Stadium over the LA Rams. Then we've got the New England Patriots. Patriots went into Buffalo. Mike Vrabel just got his signature win of the year early on here, 5 weeks into the season. You go into Buffalo, you take down Doug McDermott, you take down Josh Allen. Drake May plays like an absolute stud. Ramondre Stevenson starts running the ball like an absolute tank. That's a huge win. That is a season-altering win for the New England Patriots in the AFC East. Massive win for the Patriots. They are on my top row, and there goes one undefeated. And guess what? We've got another undefeated joining the Buffalo Bills as no longer undefeated. The Denver Broncos went into Philadelphia and they knocked off the defending Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are no longer undefeated. Sean Payton thrilled to finally have a rushing game back in Denver. JK all day. As Gus Johnson would say on Fox for the Ohio State Buckeyes, JK all day. That is now what Sean Payton is going to adapt as his mantra when it comes to running the ball in Denver. Bo Nix, he's shaking off the rust. The Broncos are starting to look like they're firing on all cylinders. They get another statement win over the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia, might I add. Now, who finishes off our little run here at the top? We've got the Washington Commanders. Jaden Daniels, always good to see him back in action. It had been Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota, props to him. He kept the ship afloat. They didn't sink. They got a win, lost a game, but looked good. He held down the fort. Jaden Daniels back out there. Still no return date yet on Terry McLaurin. They're looking to get their star receiver back, but a big-time win for the Commanders. They go in, once again, to SoFi Stadium, and they knock off the LA Chargers. We're starting to get some trouble for the Chargers. We're starting to get some trouble for the city of Los Angeles. The Rams are starting to crack just a little bit, as well as the Chargers. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with those two teams over the next couple of weeks, but a big-time win for the Commanders. Jaden Daniels is back, and that high-powered offense, they are back. Commanders, big-time win. Now we get to our nice little section of honorable mentions. And guess what? We've got two teams that have not appeared on this side of the board, but they are here. Spencer Rattler, he gives us some flashbacks to the South Carolina days when he was quarterback. They get a big-time win off the Schneid. He looked good. Alvin Kamara, yes, he may be old. He may be in the latter years of his NFL career. The guy can still run. Chris Olave making some big-time catches as well for the Saints. Guess what? The Saints have a win this season. Big-time things happening for the Saints. Good win. You're off the Schneid. How about the Titans? Could they get off the Schneid? Yes, they could. Cam Ward off the freaking Schneid. Here's how it went down. We got some crazy stuff going on, all right? Let's start with this. 21-6 in the fourth quarter. Okay? Yeah, 21-6. We've got some crazy plays that took place in this game. I mean, if you weren't watching this game, I'm going to start out by saying this. 21-6, you probably weren't watching this game. Okay, Titans are 0-5. The Cardinals, they're not a great NFL team to start the year. They've had their struggles. If you decided to flip this game on, what a roller coaster of a ride this game took you on. We start things out. It's 21-6 in the fourth quarter, might I add. Cardinals are driving down the field. They hit a 72-yard run right up the gut. They go all the way down to the end zone. We're going to get to the 1-yard line, and we're going to drop the ball. What? Why? That's all I can ask, is why. What are we doing here? I see this so many times. Had this been the first time in NFL history that this play has happened where somebody drops the ball at the 1 yard line as they've got to walk into the end zone, it would be like, wow, okay, maybe we'll cut him a break. This has never happened. This is happening often. Holy crud. Changes the game. Because guess what? Here come Cam Ward and the Titans. Cam Ward leading them down the field. Cam Ward throws a little pass. It's intercepted. Uh-oh, now the game's over, right? Wait a minute. What are we doing, Cardinals? They fumble the ball. The ball gets kicked all the way into the end zone. Titans get a touchdown in the end zone. Game on. Okay? Titans go on to win this game on a game-winning field goal. They get off the schneid. And that's a huge win for the Titans. Cardinals are now reeling. That is whoa. That's like a roller coaster you get on. You didn't know it had a lot of loops, a lot of spinning, and your mind is spinning. I mean, if I'm the Cardinals today, I've probably got my head over a bucket. I don't know what's going on. Now we're going to move on. We get to the Texans. Texans blew out the Baltimore Ravens. Again, there are warning signs going on in the Ravens. People don't know what's going on. Lamar Jackson hopefully is back for the Ravens next week. C.J. Stroud, though, he regained some key form that they need him to have. How about Nico Collins? He's making some great catches down the field. A touchdown for him. Texans looked mighty good against the Baltimore Ravens. That was a huge win. Minnesota Vikings, a come-from-behind win in London over the Cleveland Browns. Carson Wentz, he was hurt. A lot of people thought Kevin McConnell was like, oh no. We're going to lose Carson Wentz now. We're going to bring in our third-string QB. We still don't have J.J. McCarthy. No. Wentz comes back in, leads him to a come-from-behind victory. How about Jordan Addison? Game-winning catch with about 20 seconds to go. Dagger to the hearts of Browns fans. Vikings get the win. How about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? 3-1 battle in the NFC. They go into Seattle. They knock off Sam Darnold and company. And they were both rocking their retro unis. Do those not look awesome or what? If you were watching that game, that was a treat. But man, can Baker Mayfield throw or what? How good has Emeka Ibuka been? The Buccaneers are for real. And they are the stout, excellent little high-class team of the NFC South Division. Now we got the Dallas Cowboys. Dak Prescott, MVP form on the offensive side. Defense still starting to come along. They get a big win. They hold serve over the New York Jets. How about the Carolina Panthers? Rico Dowdle. That's who I'm giving my shout out. One of the standout players of this NFL season. 23 rushes, 206 yards, and a TD. Rico was running all over the field, folks. Bryce Young finally emerged, was throwing the ball a little bit better. Panthers, they get a big-time win. And hey, they're now 2-3. That's not out of it. We're only 5 weeks into the season. You can change the tide a little bit, get some things going. Then you got Indiana Jones, the archaeologist. He's embracing the nickname, the Indianapolis Colts. They get a big-time win. Jiminy Christmas, are they putting up points? And holy crud, what's going on for the Las Vegas Raiders? They're not performing. Pete Carroll, he's saying this is a really poor start. I got to do better. I got to chew some more gum. Maybe that'll get us through this situation. Maybe get some juicy fruit, maybe some Big Red. I don't know. Pete, what gum flavor needs to change the tide in Vegas? Because some things need to get corrected. This was an absolute whooping that the Indianapolis Colts put on the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I've got them down here at the bottom. Still a great win for the Detroit Lions. They held serve. A lot of people said, okay, Lions going into Cincinnati, they're going to take care of it. This was a game that until late, the Lions were really in control of. They did leave the door open a little bit. I'm sure Dan Campbell will want to fine-tune some things at practice, but the Lions still look good. Jahmyr Gibbs looked great. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Mr. Reliable. Holy crud. Jared Goff was actually excellent as well. Lions look good. They get a big win. Let's flip now to your right side of the board. The Seattle Seahawks. Like I said, Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Kenneth Walker. Seahawks put up a nice little performance against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It just wasn't their day. It was the Buccaneers' day, but the Seahawks stand tall with a loss. Now, who do we have next? Folks, it's the Cleveland Browns. It was Dylan Gabriel's first start. The Oregon alumni, he comes in, and guess what? He held his own. He looked pretty good. He gave the Browns a little bit of a spark now that Joe Flacco is the backup. It just changed things up for the Browns. And this was a game, the Browns had multiple opportunities to win this game. Just could not get it done. They left the door open. Carson Wentz and the Vikings capitalized, but the Browns did enough that I'm going to have them in my top row this week. Browns do a good job. It wasn't a win. They're in that top row. This was a very unique week. As you could probably tell, I've got 2 spots open for teams that stood tall even with a loss because it was weird. Really, just all around. I mean, you look at the teams, and I'll tell you about it a little bit, but it was weird. It was blah, is what I'll say. It was a blah week. The Dolphins, no. Mike, what is going on? No. You needed to beat the Carolina Panthers, and that didn't happen. Whoa. Okay. The Raiders, whoa. Wake up. Let's go. The Giants, Whoa. Jackson Dart, you had the fans believing this is the time. We're going to do it. Had your chances. It didn't happen. Okay, let's try to get the helmet on straight. Now I'm going to point this out. The Buffalo Bills, they debuted their Nike rivalry uniform. What is happening this season with the alternate uniform kind of curse? Teams that have been debuting this uniform, you go back and you look at the past couple weeks, you watch the show and you go back and watch the older episodes, the teams that are wearing these alternate uniforms, it's obviously when you've got teams playing each other like the Bucs and the Seahawks did, you're bound to get one on the winner side. But the games where it's been one and an alternate or a throwback and another team that's not, they're struggling. The Bills, they debut this new uniform. They're so excited about it, they're on a losing side. Really interesting. Just keep your eye on that. That's kind of a little fun side topic to keep your eye on as the season progresses. The Bengals, oh gosh. I mean, just, no. Okay, Eagles. What is going on? What happened here? It was your first loss, so you know what, we're okay. But still, whoa. Holy crud, the Ravens. No one saw this coming. And again, injuries do hurt. Okay, they're playing without Lamar Jackson. Like I said, hopefully he's back next week. But these past couple weeks for the Ravens have been, wow. Got to change some things. Cardinals, whoa. I mean, that's what they're still doing. Whoa. Cardinals, what do we got going on? I'm saying whoa a lot because, guys, whoa. What's going on this side of the board? The Chargers. Whoa. What are we doing? The Rams. Okay, this one I won't say whoa to. I said it there, but they're not a whoa level. This was a tight game. Like I said, Mac Jones played really darn well. The Rams held their own. Could have won this game, back and forth game, 26-23. Niners came out on top. But the Rams still played really well. And then the Jets. I mean, whoa! What are we doing? You're 0-5. Justin Fields. He's playing well. You got to get stuff going. Breece Hall is running the ball well. Jets, you got to get a win. I mean, you got to get a win. That's all you can do right now is just throw your arms up like, oh. You know that meme where they're kind of just standing on the side of the road going like this and it just like, that's what Jets fans are doing right now. Got to get it fixed. Folks, these are our loser side over here for this week. Seahawks and Browns stand tall. Winner side, it's the Niners, Patriots, Broncos, Commanders that stand out with a big-time win. Honorable mention again, Saints, Titans, they get one. That is our info board for this week. It's a fun one. All right, everybody, week 6 of the NFL. Let's take a look at the schedule. Let's start on your left-hand side with Thursday Night Football. There's our Thursday Night Football helmet again in all its glory. Who do we have starting things off? It's the Philadelphia Eagles traveling to take on the New York Giants. Eagles coming off their first loss. This is a winnable game. They should be able to get back in the win column. Does Jackson Dart have something to say with it? Does he want to give the MetLife Stadium crowd a little something to cheer about? We're going to find out. That is Thursday Night Football once again on Prime Video. Now, we go to Sunday morning. We're once again in London, folks. We've got the Denver Broncos coming off a absolutely massive win over the Philadelphia Eagles. They're traveling to the winless New York Jets. Jets are the only team without a win in the NFL. This is kind of a trap game, okay? Broncos got a huge win last week. They're thinking this Jets game is going to be easy. Don't overlook the Jets. The Jets have shown a couple little flashes. You never know if this is the game that ignites the spark. Broncos Jets, that's Sunday morning, a little early breakfast matinee game for you, 9:30 from London. Now we get to our 1 o'clock slate, usual slate on Sunday. We've got the Browns taking on the Steelers. Steelers, again, coming off that bye week. You never know how teams are going to play after the bye week. Are the Steelers going to come in a little sluggish, or are they going to be feeling really good? Hey, we are atop the AFC North by a couple games. We're in the driver's seat. Are they ready to kick some butt? We're going to find out. Browns at Steelers, and it's the second week in a row now we'll get to see Dylan Gabriel, how he performs in the NFL. Then we got the LA Chargers and the Miami Dolphins in Miami. Chargers are reeling. They've lost 2 in a row. They're really looking to get back on track. The Dolphins are also struggling. Kind of, if you would say, a stunner in that loss to the Panthers. Nobody really saw that one coming. Nobody in the Dolphins organization saw that one coming. Dolphins are trying to get back in the win column. Both teams are. Big game down in Miami, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Next, the New England Patriots coming off their biggest win of the year after taking down the Buffalo Bills. Bills are no longer undefeated. They're traveling to the New Orleans Saints. The Saints, hey, I can go out there and say they're coming off their biggest win of the year. It's their only win of the year. So I can say that. 2 teams that are riding their biggest highs of the year going at it. Drake May, Spencer Rattler, Ramondre Stevenson, Alvin Kamara. You've got big matchups here. Great quarterbacks, great running backs, and guess what? Saints defense played well just in their last game. The Patriots defense, did they play well, shutting down that Bills offense in Buffalo. That's a great game, 1 o'clock. Now, here's an example of a game that injuries just play a key factor. Rams-Ravens in Baltimore. Okay, the Ravens are 1-4. I can tell you not many people saw that coming, if any, this season. Lamar Jackson's hurt. We do not know if he's going to play this game. The Rams are currently 3-2. This is a huge game. Huge game in Baltimore. The Ravens are looking just to get back on track. Rams are looking to get back to 4-2. Who do we have next? The Arizona Cardinals. If they aren't still puking, they're ready to get back at it against Dr. Indiana Jones, Daniel Jones, the archaeologist, in a big game in Indy. Cardinals have got to wipe the vomit from the mouth. The Colts, they're on fire. They are on absolute fire. Huge game in Indianapolis, 1 o'clock on Sunday. Cardinals at the Colts. Now we have another great one. One of the featured games of the week, I should say. It's the Seahawks, it's the Jags. Now the Jags are hosting the Kansas City Chiefs tonight. It's Monday, it's October 6th, so we have Monday Night Football tonight. Jags are hosting the Chiefs. They currently are 3-1. There's a chance they're 4-1. There's a chance they're 3-2. Could be a 3-2 matchup. Could be a 4-1 3-2 matchup. Regardless, that's a great football game. 2 teams that are playing at a pretty darn good level. Sam Darnold's showing us a lot of great little flashes of some really nice arm strength. Kenneth Walker, he's running the ball well. Tyson Etienne, Trevor Lawrence. Jags are playing well. That's a good game, Sunday, 1 o'clock. Now we go to your right side of the board here. The Dallas Cowboys and the Carolina Panthers. What do we think about this one? Here's the deal. Cowboys offense is still playing at a premier level. Defense has been the question mark. Panthers got a big win last week over the Miami Dolphins. They've got a little bit of momentum. This is an interesting game to keep an eye on. 1 o'clock on Sunday. Cowboys at Panthers. Now here we are. We're at the 4 o'clock window, folks. And this, whenever you see a game like this, it has a chance to be the best game of the week. You're probably thinking, Philip, what on earth are you talking about? You've got 2 1-4 teams. They suck. Well, hold up. Titans, major loopsy win over the Arizona Cardinals, but they got their first win. The Raiders are just looking for another win. They haven't won since week 1 of the season. need a win. Pete Carroll, he's trying out some different gum flavors. Got to get a win in Vegas. Fans at the Death Star are getting a little anxious. They got some ants in the pants. You need to see a win here. But 2 1-4 teams, this should be a fun one. Let's see what happens. 4 o'clock Sunday as that kicks off our 4 o'clock window. This is the game of the week. 2 4-1 teams. Is Brock Purdy going to be back for the San Francisco 49ers? We don't know. Mac Jones has proven that he's a capable backup. He can control this team for the time being. Kyle Shanahan's been thrilled with what he's seen, but the Buccaneers are playing some mighty fine football. Todd Bowles, he's got these guys in great shape. They're back in Tampa. You know the pirate ship will be fired up at Raymond James Stadium. Buccaneers hosting the Niners, 4-1, colossal bout. 4:25 on Sunday. Here we go again, another example just like that Rams-Ravens matchup. If injuries weren't affecting the schedule, you would say, whoa, we've got Joe Burrow going into Lambeau Field to take on Jordan Love. Here's the problem. You still got Jake Browning right now. It's not Joe Burrow. It's a 4 o'clock game. Here's what's crazy. Bengals are floating in this division. Not going to go down the rabbit hole. They're 2-3. Ravens are 1-4. Nobody saw that coming. Browns are 1-4. They're second place in this division. They play the Steelers next week. Just keep that in mind. Little tidbit, just something to watch is this is a big game for both teams coming off the bye. How will the Packers perform? You know Jordan Love and the guys, they want to get the fans a win. If you have not been to Lambeau Field, it is just the way it's situated, where it's at. It's one of the craziest game day settings you're ever going to see in football, the frozen tundra. And we are getting closer to seeing the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field. It's already October, folks. That is crazy. Anyway, that finishes off our 4 o'clock slate. We get to Sunday Night Football. It's the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs, again, they are playing tonight. They're traveling to Jacksonville. We don't know if they're going to be 3-2 or are they going to be 2-3. We're going to find out. However, the Lions are currently 4-1, and they're looking good. Dan Campbell's got the guys playing some mighty fine football. That is Sunday night. And then we get to Monday night. We've got another double action time, folks. We got the Buffalo Bills coming off their loss. It's a game they should win. They're traveling. They're going to take on Michael Penix and the Atlanta Falcons. This is on Monday night. Game the Bills should win. Falcons looking to shut down the Bills, maybe catch them with their head in the sand still after that last loss. Going to be an interesting one, though, Monday night. And then we've got the Bears. They're coming off their bye. Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson wants to see this offense explode. He wants to see DeAndre Swift running the ball with some authority. But the Commanders, like I said, Jaden Daniels, he is back. He's in control of this team. Actually, you know what? For the Commanders, Jaden Daniels is in command of this team. Does that sound better? Anyway, we'll see. That is our schedule. That is our Week 6 schedule for the NFL. Crazy to think we're already 6 weeks in. And reminder, folks, it's crucial catch time. Okay? Say some prayers. I know you got loved ones out there that have been affected by cancer. This is the time to stand up. Support anyone you can. If you're going to buy that NFL merchandise, you might want to get that crucial catch merchandise. All of the proceeds go to the fight against cancer. It's Week 6. It is football time. Let's talk some college football. All right, everybody, college football, now is the time. We are officially a month away, if you can believe it or not, from our first college football playoff rankings. It is the time where teams are making their push and making their case for the committee to take notice. Let's take a look at what we have this week in the world of college football. On your left, we've got my Pwamps featured 4. On your right, we've got my other 4 games you've got to keep your eye on this week. We try to lead you to the best games. We think we've done a pretty good job of that so far. I want to make sure I get you some good games. What do we have this week? Let's dial it in. Let's find out. We start things off. We've got some Conference USA action. Louisiana Tech. They're going to travel to Kennesaw, Georgia to take on the Owls of Kennesaw State. Kennesaw State, they're a team, most of the time, they're in that bottom part of their conference. Not right now. Kennesaw State, they're undefeated in Conference USA. So is Louisiana Tech. This is a big early conference game. Somebody's going to make a case to be near the top of the conference. Somebody's going to falter a little bit. Big game for La Tech and Kennesaw. That is Thursday evening, folks. We get a little Thursday night lights this week. Get ready because it's happening Thursday night. Conference USA action. Now we get to Saturday at noon. We're back in the SEC. Don't know if you've heard of that conference. I'm kidding. The SEC. Come on now. SEC, we've got the Alabama Crimson Tide traveling out of Tuscaloosa. They're coming over to Mizzou. The Missouri Tigers are undefeated right now, folks. This is another one of those teams, kind of like Kennesaw State, obviously much different conference. But they tend to be near that bottom half of the conference when it comes to SEC play. This is a major, major moment for Missouri to make their case. If they can knock off Kalen DeBoer, reminder, the Crimson Tide coming off one of their biggest wins of the season with that win at UGA, the Georgia Bulldogs. This would be a huge win for Missouri. Alabama, they're looking to make sure that people know they're just the class of the SEC once again this year. They can kind of get back to those Nick Saban days of dominating the SEC. That is at noon on Saturday. Now we got a big one. We start with the Big Ten. 3:30, it's the Hoosiers of Indiana traveling cross country. They're going to Eugene. Eugene, when you're traveling to take on the Ducks, it's one of the toughest places to play. Hoosiers with a tall task. If they can go in and knock off the Ducks, it's all to bed. Okay? This team's for real. Case closed. If you go in and you knock off the Oregon Ducks, nobody will doubt you. Indiana, you are for real. That's a huge game. Saturday, 3:30, Big Ten action. Who do we have after that? Well, we've got a nice little 7:30 game for you. The Kansas Jayhawks, Rock Chalk, Jayhawk, 4-2. They do have 2 losses, but this is a team, they're playing a lot better in the Big 12. They've picked up a couple of key wins as of late. They're traveling to Texas Tech. Texas Tech is a team that's flying under the radar. This is a dangerous football team. They've been throwing the option in there a little bit. The offense is picking up on some key big-time plays. They're starting to run some teams out of the stadium. Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, they're looking good. This is a big-time game. Saturday night, 7:30, Kansas and Texas Tech. Now we look at your right side of the board. These are my other 4 you got to keep your eye on this week. We start with the American Conference. We've got USF. Now, reminder, you probably are like, oh, USF, we've seen that helmet before. Yes, you have. You've seen North Texas as well. There's 2 little stories going on here with both of these teams. USF was in the top 25 at the start, kind of a couple weeks ago. They jumped into the rankings. They suffered a loss. They jumped right back out. But they made a splash in those rankings. North Texas, I've had them on this other 4 now probably a couple times, and here's why. They're 5-0. They're getting some big wins, and guess what? If they can stand it at home, if they can defend their home turf, USF, they're a top 25 team. North Texas, they might just be popping in to the top 25, and guess what? A win over USF, they're the class of the American Conference. They'd be 6-0. That would be a phenomenal start for North Texas. That's going down, though, and that's going to be a fun game. Let's see what happens. That's Friday evening. USF, North Texas. Let's get those Friday night lights going, folks. Let's go. Now we dive in. We're back to Saturday. Florida Gators. The Gators are responsible for ending Arch Manning's season. Arch just hasn't had it. Steve Sarkisian they have not had it. The Texas Longhorns, they've really struggled. You can't say it any simpler than that. The Longhorns have struggled, and guess what? The Gators exposed them. Gators offense ran all over the field. They made life a living pile of crap for the Texas Longhorns. And guess what? This is a mighty tall task, though, for the Gators. To travel into Texas A&M, top 20 football team. continuing to climb in the rankings each week. We've had a new AP poll. The Texas A&M, I mean, they're playing phenomenal football. They're looking good right now. The Aggies of Texas A&M, that's a big-time football game. Florida, Texas A&M, Florida looking to make a case that they're dominant in the SEC, but Texas A&M, the Aggies, they say, that's a fun game. Who do we have now? We've got a nice little 7:30 game back at the Coliseum in Southern California. Mr. Maeva back in action. Lincoln Riley, these guys are ready to go. They're taking on Bryce Underwood and these Michigan Wolverines. Sharon Moore, he is back on the sidelines. He just was last week. He had that 2-game suspension. He's back. They took it to the Badgers last week. He's back. Wolverines are looking good. Bryce Underwood, he's finally throwing the ball. Guess what? He's starting to use his legs. Everyone always said, Bryce Underwood, this guy can run. He didn't want to do it. He was reluctant to get on the ground, use those legs a little bit. Now he is, and guess what? The Michigan Wolverines have a dual threat quarterback on their hands. That's dangerous. Top 20 team, Michigan Wolverines, USC, right outside the top 25. This is a huge game in Big Ten play at the Coliseum, and folks are going to be riled up. 7:30 Saturday night, the Wolverines and the Trojans. Who ends our night? What do we have as the grand finale to wrap this whole week up? We've got a good one for you. It's the BYU Cougars, 5-0 and looking mighty good. They just got into the top 25 just last week. Now they make a little splash, keep moving up the rankings. They're into the top 20. They're traveling to take on the Arizona Wildcats. Now, when Arizona was in the Pac-12 in football, they were a bottom feeder of the Pac-12, okay? They're in the Big 12 now. That's kind of been the same MO for Arizona. But guess what? The Wildcats find themselves at 4-1. And this is a mighty fine, delicious, steak-looking, mouth-watering statement game, especially when you've got the College Football Playoff Committee lurking. Here we go. Wildcats hosting BYU. This is a mammoth game. 10:30 on Saturday night. You do not want to miss it. BYU traveling to Arizona, to Tucson. We are going to have some fun. That's your late night game. That'll probably take you into, 1:30 in the morning on Sunday. And then you've got 9:30 football action from London and the NFL. That sounds pretty good to me. That's our featured 4. That's our other 4. Great games. Great games on both sides. College football, we got a fun week. We'll have some other conference updates throughout the week, but that's our college football update, folks. It's been fun. All right, everyone, we are here. The world of baseball takes center stage. We are in the thick of the postseason. Quick refresh on how the format works. The Wild Card Series is a 3-game series at the higher seed stadium. The Divisional Series, that's a 5-game series. The first 2 games are at the higher seed stadium. The next 2 are at the lower seed stadium. And if it goes to a deciding Game 5, it is back at the higher seed stadium. Now, the World Series and Championship Series, those are 7-game series. We will talk about that more when the time comes. For now, let's look at filling out the rest of this bracket. Let's take a look at your left here. We'll start with the American League. Now, something interesting happened at the start of these postseason games. 3-game series, right? The road teams in 3 out of the 4 series took Game 1. Let's talk about it real quickly. The Detroit Tigers, they go into Cleveland. We got a little AL Central rivalry matchup here. And what was happening, as you remember, as the season came to an end, these 2 teams were chasing each other for playoff position. These could have been vice versa. This was a close race. It ends up being the Guardians are the 3, the Tigers are the 6 in the American League. So what happens? Game 1, the Tigers go in and get a win. Tarek Skubal, he was on the mound, had 14 strikeouts. He pitched an absolute gem. Tigers go up 1-0 in this series. We get to Game 2. The Guardians respond. They're not done yet. It finishes, though, with the 6th seed. The Detroit Tigers getting a series win. They move on. They'll get the Seattle Mariners. Meanwhile, the Guardians say bye-bye. They are done. Season is over for everyone in Cleveland. It's now you've got the Browns. They're 1-4. The Guardian season is over. Take a quick moment of silence. I'm sorry, fans of Cleveland. The Guardians are out and the Browns are 1-4. Let's get back to baseball. Then you had the Boston Red Sox. They were the 5 seed, traveling to take on the 4-seeded New York Yankees. Classic rivalry. Yankees-Red Sox. You love to hear about it. There's great history, whether it's Alex Rodriguez, Derek Jeter, whether it's Babe Ruth, whether you've got Big Papi, David Ortiz. You've got legends on both sides for these franchises, and whenever they get together, it's a fun little clash. Yankees-Red Sox. Here we go. What happened? Well, our trend, it kept going. Red Sox, they take game 1. Puts the Yankees on notice. Hey, you got to win 2 games or your season's over. Guess what? The Yankees did. Giancarlo Stanton and the Yankees looked mighty good. They move on. They're going to get the Blue Jays. Meanwhile, the Red Sox, they're taking off their socks. They're done. Season's done. Goodbye. Sorry, Boston fans. It's over for you. The Yankees move on. They are getting the Toronto Blue Jays in the American League Divisional Series. Let's take a look at the right side of the board. We get in to the National League now. This is where our trend takes a quick pause. And it pains me so much that this trend couldn't have continued. I mean, just to give us even a little of excitement, it just didn't happen. The Cincinnati Reds, and this is the exact same thing I'll say for the Cleveland Guardians and the Cleveland fans. The Bengals are struggling. The Reds, they made the postseason. They're bounced out. Pitching didn't have it. Hunter Green struggled. Zach Littell struggled. The bats were a little more apparent. They were hitting a little more, but not really. You're playing the boys in blue. You're playing the LA Dodgers. They're the defending World Series champs. Kike Hernandez, it seems like every October, his bat comes to life. Teoscar Hernandez, he's playing some lights out baseball. It's Clayton Kershaw's farewell tour as well, his final year in the major leagues. He's retiring at the end of this season. Dodgers would love nothing more than to get him one more ring. The Reds did not want to run into the Dodgers. The Reds, I'm sorry, goodbye. I'm going to say one more thing about the Dodgers. This team should never have been the 3 seed in the National League. They really underperformed in the regular season. The NL West, the division race for the National League West was razor thin. This came down to 4 or 5 games at the end of the year. The Dodgers have been winning this division by quite an amount of games the past couple years. This was different. Dodgers struggled. They might not have had that chip on their shoulder early this year. They've got it now. They are looking like an electric team in the postseason. They move. They're the 3 seed. They're going to be taking on the 2-seeded Philadelphia Phillies. That's what's going down in the National League Division Series. We got one more wild card series to talk about, and this is where that old trend continued. Padres, they go into Wrigley Field. Wrigley Field, legendary venue. Probably the most historic baseball venue in baseball, if you ask me. Now, Padres go in. They take game 1. They put those Cubs fans on notice. Wait a minute. Dansby Swanson says no. Pete Crow Armstrong says no. I mean, it didn't happen for the Padres. Once again, their helmet comes off the board. We stare at it. We give it a quick little wipe. They're done. Season's over. The Chicago Cubs set up another division rivalry matchup in the National League Divisional Series. Let's head back to your left side now. We're going to talk about the American League. Today is Monday, October 6th, okay? Monday, October 6th. The American League has played their first 2 games of the divisional series. Tigers, Mariners. The Detroit Tigers took game 1 of this series. The Seattle Mariners are the home team. Cal Raleigh, reminder, he's a catcher. He hit 60 home runs this year. That's quite an accomplishment. Tigers took game 1, though. They won it in 11 innings. It was a nice little treat for anybody that was staying up late. It was a fun one to watch. Tigers went up 1-0. Mariners could not go down 2-0 with this series going back to Detroit. It was a pitching duel. Luis Castillo against Tarek Skubal once again. Guess what? Luis Castillo wins the pitching matchup. The Mariners, tied the series. We are 1-1 heading back to Detroit. Now, we go to the bottom part here. Toronto Blue Jays, New York Yankees. This is again a nice little AL East matchup. Division rivalry, folks. This one was again a nail-biter. Came down to the final few games of the season to see who was going to win this division, who was going to have a bye. I always like to talk about bye-week teams. Bye-week teams, bye-round teams. You don't know how they're going to come out. They can come out, they can be a little sluggish, they can be slow to the punch, or they can come out totally rejuvenated like they've never lost a step. How are the Blue Jays going to come out of this? Holy crud. They're the sleeping giants, folks. My goodness. They are putting up runs. They are dominating in this series. They take a commanding 2-0 lead back into New York. Vlad Guerrero, he is Grand Slam Central right now. It's looking tough for the Yankees. They need to win 3 games in a row to stay in the postseason, folks. Major series, major games at Yankee Stadium for Giancarlo Stanton, for Aaron Judge, for Cody Bellinger. And how about for manager Aaron Boone? He's maybe on the hot seat. This is a major couple games coming up for the Yankees. Now we turn to your right side of the board. 2 series left in the divisional series. Let's start with the Dodgers and the Phillies. Dodgers are the 3 seed. Phillies are the 2 seed. It's another case of we were on the bye. We saw a couple of guys with the bye week hangover, and it was the 3 guys the Phillies do not want to see having that hangover. Start out with Kyle Schwarber. Start out with Trey Turner. Start out with Bryce Harper. Hitless in game 1. It's like sleepless in Seattle. This is hitless in Philadelphia. That cannot be a thing. Cannot be a thing if the Phillies are going to have postseason success, especially when you're playing the Dodgers. Can't do it. Dodgers look good. Teoscar Hernandez, again, homers. Kike Hernandez. I keep saying them because they're the Dodgers offense. Right now, those 2 names are the Dodgers offense. Seriously, look at the box score. Look at the charts. These guys are propelling the Dodgers offense. 2-man show right now in LA on the batting side. Mookie Betts has been pretty solid as well. Okay, he gets the supporting role right now. Phillies need a huge game tonight. They're back at home for one more. You cannot go into Chavez Ravine, into Dodger Stadium, down 2-0. This is a must-win game for the Phillies. Now we look down here. Chicago Cubs, back on the road, traveling to the Milwaukee Brewers. How are the Brewers going to come out of their bye? They look pretty darn good. Took game 1 with authority over the Chicago Cubs. Christian Yelich. What can you say? The guy has regained his MVP form. The Brewers are looking mighty strong, folks. They lead this series 1-0. We've got game 2 tonight. What's going to happen? Cubs need a win in the worst way. You do not want to go down 2-0. In any of these series, 2-0 is a bad note. There's only one team right now. Yankees got to dig out of the hole. Postseason is closing in, folks. I'm caught in the thick of it. It's the postseason. It's the divisional round, and it's happening right now in the world of baseball. 2 great games from the National League tonight. Don't miss them. It's been fun. Baseball is reaching its finest moment. Tune in. Now is the time to be watching. Oh my gosh. Why is popcorn so good? You know, every time I go to a sporting event, every time I go see a movie, I have to have popcorn. And I know a lot of people who are just like me, and I bet you are too. So here's what I'm going to say. If you like what you saw today on the Pwamps Show, why don't you just click subscribe? Click like, leave a comment. It really would go a long way.